Hey everybody, it's Mama Queen from Drag Race Holland, Season 1.
Thank you so much, Mama Queen, for joining us today. Can you just briefly explain your drag name for us?
Okay, my drag name, Mama Queen, started as McQueen. Before I did drag, me and my best friend just gave ourselves a different name. Or my friend started and he called himself Prince JJ. And I was like, yeah, then me, Dennis, is a little bit weird. So maybe I can give myself a fancy name too. And Alexander McQueen is my biggest inspiration as a fashion designer. So I said, if you are Prince JJ, then call me McQueen. Then when I started doing drag, I heard about the concept of a drag mom and I didn't have one. So I was like, I'm going to be a mother. So I just put MA in front of the McQueen and then it became Mama Queen.
I guess I wanted to ask you, what is it like in Holland being a self-identified non-binary queen or person that you live in your daily life? And then how does that play into things like AFAB queens over in the Netherlands?
I would say that in the community of queens, the AFAB queens are really welcome and we're super happy with the diversity in our community. I think everybody's really in a state of mind that anybody can do drag, no matter how you identify or what kind of gender or background you have. I think in the Netherlands, there's this really openness about anybody can do drag as long as you want to yourself. For me, as a non-binary person in the Netherlands, it's hard to compare because I only know living here. Sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's not. I guess that I'm used to my life, living my life, and I identify as a non-binary person since 5 years. And I noticed, especially the last year, I think, that people start asking me, like, what's your pronouns? I see you are quite feminine. How do you identify? And people ask me, so that's really nice. I don't really get negative comments. If I say I'm non-binary, it's always, or people love it, or people are curious, like, oh, what does it mean? The way I express myself, I would say, can be quite flamboyant on the streets. And of course, you get some positive and negative response to that, but I don't think it has anything to do with me identifying as a non-binary person, because it's the way I express myself is some different part of my character, I would say.
You are a very authentic person. Like, I think you read to the camera very relatable and understandable. And I think that was one of the reasons so many people ended up falling in love with you as they were watching this season, because they're like, oh, this is such a real, authentic person. And it's nice to watch somebody that's not being somebody else. You're just who you are.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I try to. That's also what I help my kids with, like, to really be themselves unapologetically. And it's also the easiest, because if you pretend to be somebody else, then you have to uphold that image, and it's going to be no. I think nobody has the energy in this kind of crazy times to do that.
I agree. You're always going to have the most success when you are being yourself as much as you can. So, and you did. So congratulations. Moving more into the show, we talked a little bit about you identifying as non-binary, and that was something that kind of happened, I think, as a story arc for your character in the show.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were judged fairly or the same as your peers in the show because of that? Did it affect the judging at all?
I don't really think it affected the judging. Of course, there was the split personality episode where it really became a topic we talked about. But for me, I don't really think it involved the judges that much. I mean, the main thing that the judges didn't get was my conceptuality, and my identity was not really part of that. It's more like the fact that I do really conceptual looks. And yeah, the fact that the judges maybe didn't know what non-binary was, yeah, kind of gave them some questions and maybe didn't understand why I made that choice for that particular runway. But other than that, no.
RuPaul, they do that little cut in where RuPaul comes on the screen and RuPaul says category is half man, half queen, I believe is what RuPaul said. But I also hear things like you said split personality. So what were you actually given as the assignment?
When you're at home and you get the runway topics, I get the split personalities. And then I was talking to people of production and they said, yeah, we just want to know the man behind the queen. And then I was like, but I don't identify as a man, I identify as non-binary. So if I would be like back in the day, still blonde, Dennis on one side with blonde and just being like natural, and then on the other side do Mama Queen, it just looks like too similar. So I was like, I'm going to interpret it in my own way. So of course, there's maybe misconception about how we have to interpret the theme, and maybe also the judges just got a description half man, half queen, or I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I just know what happened to me. And in general, I mean, there's a lot of discussion about the 5th episode, and I feel like it should be more about if this is still a relevant theme for the runway. Let's say half man, half queen. If you want to know the person behind the queen, then just watch the season, because you see us in the workroom the whole time without makeup. So you already know the person behind the queen. If we would all do that, then I would say it's just a really boring theme.
Yeah, I think that theme, that concept is dated because we do now openly embrace on Drag Race different types of identities. Finally, you know, they're getting in a better direction that reflects the actual realistic scene of who drag performers are as people. I'm happy to see the show taking little steps, but yeah, eliminating things like that is going to be one of those steps that they need to take, I think, to keep progressing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mama Queen, so much for your time today. I really enjoyed it.
Me
Please
too.
stay in touch.
Yes, let's keep in touch. Thanks for having me.